Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome those in the chamber and those on YouTube. I'm Deputy Mayor Williamson, and I'm here to confirm the quorum in the presence of the municipal clerk, and we have council as quorum. Scott Jib, the mayor, is not available today, and I'll be filling in his place. So I would call this meeting to order at 1 o'clock. Our land acknowledgement statement, that the Township of Hamilton is situated within the traditional territory of the Mississauga, Anishinaabe, and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations. Our work on these lands respectfully acknowledges their resilience and their long-standing contribution to the area now known as the Township of Hamilton. We have no additions to our agenda, and I'm just going to get a confirmation of the agenda, and the motion reads that the agenda for the council meeting held on May 19th, 2026 be approved. I need a mover. Bruce, seconder. Mark, all those in favor? Any questions? Okay, all those in favor. Okay, and we don't have any pecuniary interest. Do we have any, does anybody have any pecuniary interest? No, we're good on that. I don't think we have any questions, either online or in-house. Presentation and declarations, item 7 and 7.1 is the 2025 audited financial statements, and Richard Steniga from Baker Tilly is going to present for us. Richard, welcome.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here again. So within the agenda package, there were 3 documents within that under the presentation, but I will fortunately just go through one of them. So it is the comparative analysis, or the presentation slides, and they are up on the screen now. And we find that most people find this easier to comprehend than the detailed financial statements that are also part of the package. And then as well too, the other document is just a summary of our standard audit reporting letters, and it is summarized as well in the presentation. So first off, it's good to be here in the township, and normally May or June, and that's reflective of the quality work that your staff does, as it's as we normally just finally complete the audit near the end of March and then turning everything over. So it's a reflective of the good work that they do, so that we can report here before the summer. So and then, as you will see, looking on the next page in the slide deck is the independent auditors report. So that is a summary of the 2-page independent auditors report, and we pulled out the important paragraph that, in our opinion, the accompanying consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the Township of Hamilton at December 31st and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year then ended, in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. So that's your standard clean, unqualified auditor's report. And keep in mind, as required under the Municipal Act, you got to follow the public sector guidelines as produced by CPA Canada. So that is, they are slightly different than how you internally manage and set your tax rates. So I'll highlight a few of those differences. But just as a summary of our audit procedures, they are listed there. Of course, the purpose of our audit is to gain the evidence we need to produce our auditor's report, and we do that by the various manners of both testing and reviewing documentation, and testing your internal control systems, as well as reviewing minutes. And then on the following slide, the audit is complete pending receipt of some signed documents from the township, as well as council approval of the financial statements. Overall, there were no difficulties encountered during the audit, or disagreements with management, or changes from our audit plan, and we had excellent cooperation from management and staff, and there were no unadjusted differences. So everything that needed to be adjusted was adjusted, so that was good to see. Now we will actually take a look at some of the numbers that are reported within the draft audited financial statements. So you have your financial assets. So these are assets that are either cash or can be turned into cash. And overall, you will see that on the far right-hand side, you'll see the balance is at December 31st, 2025. And then the little blue line beside it is just the trend for each line over the last 5 years. And you can see there that they all are increasing. Overall, your cash remained fairly consistent. You were able to put aside another $1 million into your high-interest savings account, which is why your investments went up. And then as well, too, that grew by interest on that. Your receivables were up slightly from the prior year, but still at a fairly consistent level to 2023. And then as well, too, your taxes receivable, you can see there that balance has been increasing, and at the end of 2025, as a percentage of the total tax levied, that amount was 16.3%, including interest. So that's puts you in the mid-risk range. If it was 10% or lower, the province would identify you as a low-risk range. So that's something that you just need to be cognizant of, and ensuring that you're doing everything you can to collect those monies from those outstanding ratepayers. And keep in mind, of course, you pay the county and school board as if you've collected those taxes, so you are holding the entire receivable for everyone when we look at that number. So ideally, if you could bring that down, that would be, we would consider that a good thing anyway. So, but still, in total, you had about almost $15 million in total financial assets. On the next slide, you will see who you owe money to, or monies you've received that you haven't spent yet. Overall, your payables remain fairly consistent year over year. Just some various differences in there. Your deferred revenue obligatory reserve fund. So these are monies from both Canada Community Building Fund, Parkland, and development charges, where you've collected the cash, you just haven't spent it in accordance with the regulations, so that therefore it sits on the statement of financial position as a deferred revenue until you spend it in accordance with that. And of course, you don't lose it, but that's where it remains. And majority of that is tied up in your development charges, which is about $1.6 million of that total. You were able to bring down your Canada Community Building Fund by using $656,000 of that in 2025 on roads projects. You have some other deferred revenue, basically being the change in the revenue recognition standard in 2024 in relation to building permits. About $232,000 of the $490,000 relates to that, so that's just an estimate of what work still needs to be done on those various building permits. And then as well, too, you still have about $255,000 in OCIF funding that you can use moving forward. Your long-term debt was paid down as required by this repayment schedules. Your asset retirement obligation represents asbestos potential removal costs in buildings that you own. And the big change in your financial liabilities this year is that you did have a actuarial report analyzing the cost of future retiree benefits. So you will see there that there's a fairly large increase in that, whereas in prior years it was just based on those people who are actually receiving the benefits. Now the actuary has determined the potential liability that based on risk factors as to what that liability might be from a tax rate perspective, though you continue to budget as you would, as you currently are, as to how much you're going to be spending on benefits. So it's more of a financial statement entry as opposed to impacting in your tax levy. So, and then you had total liabilities at the end of the year, about almost $6.3 million. And then the following slide gives you an idea of the 5-year net financial asset trend, and you can see there that your net financial assets still remain healthy, and that's reflective of the reserves that you have, and we'll see that later. Then we come to the non-financial assets. So these are assets that you have recorded that you own, but you don't normally try to turn them into cash. And then that represents your tangible capital assets. You can see there that this year your amortization was higher than your additions, so that causes that decrease there. Your prepaid expenses and your inventories of supplies both came down from the prior years. That's for your prepaids. That was mainly due to some prepayments at the end of 2024 for 2025 items, and then as well too, you used more of your salt and sand inventory, bringing down your inventory. And then moving along to your the next slide, you will see your total capital additions this year, $2.2 million. Majority of that related to roads and bridges work. And the big addition this year was Sidey Drive, almost a little over $400,000, and then as well as Vimy Ridge Road being the major components there, and then the land and land improvements represent work done at the ballparks, and as well to vehicles and equipment relate to both fire equipment and fire boat as well, and then as well to IT upgrades and things such as that, leaving you at $2.2 million in actual 2025 additions. And then you will see there on the next slide your assets versus your amortization over the last 5 years. You can see there that in the first 3 years of that of the chart, you had more or close to the amount of amortization as additions, whereas the last couple of years the additions now are being amortized and not replacing at the same rate as the amortization. So. And then we come to the next slide, being your accumulated surplus slide. So within the financial statements, you'll see that you have $56 million in accumulated surplus, which sounds like a large number, but when you take a look at the slide here, you'll see that $45.6 million of that is tied up in your assets, less your debt, less your retirement obligations. So the majority of that is not something that you normally turn into cash. And then as well too, you'll see there that the waterworks operations still remain in a deficit, but as you can see there, it's coming down over the last 5 years and decreased by about $70,000 in 2025. And then the unfunded employee future benefits, as with the increase in the liability, the unfunded amount remains there and they equal. And then as well too, the township at the end of the year had a $51,000 surplus. And then when you look at your reserve and your reserve funds, you'll see there that you have about $10.6 million set aside in reserves. So that's what you can use moving forward. It's the lower part of the schedule there, and it did increase by about $1.6 million year over year. So that, as I said, those are monies ideally you can use to aid with additions to capital assets, so that you can minimize large variations on setting your tax rates each year. So hopefully you can utilize that to smooth out those items. And next we come to the reconciliation of your PSAB financial statements versus how you budget and report for the tax rate purposes. Overall, you will see there within the budget for 2025 under PSAB you were showing a surplus, but of course you're not supposed to budget for a surplus when setting your tax rate. So the items down below are items that are differences between how you budget internally and PSAB reporting requirements. And you can see there the largest component of that is both related to capital asset additions as well as amortization, and then as well to reserve and reserve funds, and then changes in your unfunded capital, because of course PSAB treats the operating fund, the capital fund, and reserve funds as one big accumulated total. Well, internally you treat them all separately, so that's the main distinguisher when you look at how you report internally versus PSAB. And you can see with moving items in and out of reserves at the end of the year, that things do come to zero, both actuals 2025 and 2024. And the following slide gives you an idea of your revenues and expenses over the last 5 years, and very close each year. So, and then when we move along to the next slide, you will see that actual revenues for 2025 did come in higher than budget, and a lot of that is in relation to both your investment income being higher than budgets, as well too. You had the other revenue this year that represents your WSIB refund of about $155,000, and then as well you did utilize $656,000 in the Canada Community Building Fund. A majority of that, $311,000, was used for Sidey Drive, and then as well too, development charges were utilized for both roads and fire and some recreation purposes. So then in total, you came in at $16.1 million versus a budget of almost 15.7. And then when you take a look at the following slide, you will see of your expenses where your money went. I guess the one thing to keep in mind here, when you look at the general government line, comparing it to the previous year, you'll notice a large increase, and about $300,000 of that is related to the change in the employee future benefits. So we've added the liability under accounting. The other side goes to an expense. So so that's why you will see the increase there. And then otherwise, general government was coming in under budget, even more so than what it's showing now. And as well too, one thing to note within the protection services, both with in the fire area, there were some additional costs for training, as well as a number of emergency events in 2025, causing those costs to be higher. Whereas your transportation services were coming in a little under budget, and amortization was part of that decrease, as well as some study costs not coming in as high as budgeted. And then as well too, within recreational services, we've seen that in a number of places being a little higher. And back on the revenue side, within the user charges, your revenues from the arenas were higher than budgeted. But going along with that, of course, some of your costs then associated to run those facilities were higher than budgeted, causing that variance there. So in total, your budgeted expenses were $15.6 million, and the actual was almost the same, including the $300,000 change for the employee future benefits. And the following slide, you will see where that impacts on the type of expenses being in the salaries and benefit line being higher, whereas some materials costs and being lower, kind of offsetting each other. And then as well too, contracted services, of course, the largest component there is your OPP costing, and then as well too, you've set aside some allowances for doubtful accounts, so some bad debts causing your rents and financials to be higher. And then as well too, external transfers include amounts paid to the library board, conservation authorities, and the animal shelter, as well as community grants, giving you almost $15.7 million in expenses. So with some higher revenues and expenses coming in under budget, it allowed you to remain in a healthy financial position at the end of the year, which is why your reserves increased. So yeah, as I said, good job by your staff in tracking all the funds and preparing for the audit, so we thank them for that.
Thank you, Richard. Has council got any questions for Richard? None? Okay, well, I'll just read the prepared motion that the presentation by Richard Stanega, the partner from Baker Tilly, on the 2025 audited financial statements be received for information. I need a mover. John, seconder. Mark, all those in favor? Passes.
Do we not have to approve the financial statements for Richard's audit?
No, I'm said,
No?
Hello. Through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, you just have to receive it.
we're just receiving it. Okay. But should we approve that then, from staff? Do we have that in? Do we have that later in?
Councillor Davison and Councillor Lutchen, would you kindly withdraw that motion and then put forward a motion to approve the 2025 audited financial statements?
Yes, I will.
All those in favor? Okay, passed. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving now on to item 8, public hearings and meetings. 8.1, motion to move into a public meeting, that the council move into a public meeting under section 357 of the Municipal Act at 1:20 p.m. on May 19th, 2026. I need a mover. Bruce and John seconder. All those in favor? Thank you. And now, we have 18.2, an application for cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes under section 357, brackets I, brackets D, brackets I, brackets 1, brackets D, brackets I, of the Municipal Act, application WO 2025-11 at 7079 Beach Street. Those in support? Those opposed? Those seeking clarification? None. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to 8.3, motion to arise from the public meeting and to reconvene to regular council meeting. That the council rise from public meeting under section 357 of the Municipal Act and reconvene to a regular meeting of council at 1:21 on May 19th, 2026. Can I have a mover? Mark, second. John, all those in favor? Thank you. Planning bylaws, we don't have anything there. Item 10, adoption of the previous council and committee of the whole meetings. 10.1, council 21st April 2026 minutes, that the minutes of the April 21, 2026 council meeting be adopted. I need a mover. Bruce, seconder John, all those in favor? Any questions? Or I should say, okay. Committee of the whole meeting, that the minutes of the May 12th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting be approved. Mover, Mark, seconder Bruce, any questions? All those in favor? Passed. We have no minute business arising from those minutes. Item 12, committee reports. 12.1, motion to receive committee minutes, agenda items 12.2 to 12.4 be considered collectively. That the meeting items, the agenda items 12.2 to 12.4 of the May 19th, 2026 council meeting agenda be received for information. Can I have a mover? Mark, seconder? John? Does anybody want to pull anything from any of these meetings, these committees? No. Well, I do have a motion that I have to read for the Heritage Advisory Committee of April 9th, 2026.
Can you call the question, please?
Oh, the question. And the question?
Call the question.
Call the question?
Call the vote.
Call the vote? Can I have
To
a vote?
receive for information.
For information. Sorry. Okay, this passed. We have a mover and a seconder on that.
We
Just
did.
need to vote.
Councillor
Okay.
Lutchen and Councillor Davison.
Okay, I do have a prepared motion for the Heritage Committee of April 9th, 2026, rescheduled minutes. That the Heritage Committee, the motion is that the Heritage Advisory Committee recommend that the council designate the property municipally known as 2488 Van Leuven Road under Part 4, Section 29 of the Ontario Heritage Act in recognition of its cultural heritage significance, and that the council direct staff to issue the notice of the intent to be designated. Can I have a mover? Bruce, seconder, John, any questions? All those in favor? Passed. No, there's no other questions on any of those others? Okay. We're going to move now to item 13, which is the Public Works and Infrastructure. 13.1, WTR 2026-05, Camborne Water Treatment Plant, Well 2A Rehabilitation. That council receives report WTR 2026-06, Camborne WTP Well 22A Rehabilitation for information, and that council approves the sole source procurement of technical services related to Well 2A remediation in accordance with the Township Procedural Procurement Policy, and that council approves the award of the rehabilitation services for Well 2A to Lotto Water Technical Services, Inc. in the amount of $27,500, excluding HST. Can I have a mover? Seconder? Seconder? Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh, did you move? I don't know. Oh, this is going to be a recorded vote too, yes, right, thank you. Okay, recorded vote.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Moved by Councillor Levchin, seconded by Councillor Butter. Kindly say yay or nay. Councillor Butter? Yay. Councillor Davison? Yay. Councillor Levchin?
Yay.
Deputy Mayor Williamson?
Yay.
Carried unanimously. Thank you.
Sorry, I had that right here and I didn't. Item 14 was recreation facilities. We have nothing there. 15, corporate services. Item 15.1, CD 2026-06, procedural bylaw refinements post-notice period. That council receives report CD 2026-06, procedural bylaw refinements post-notice period for information that and that bylaw 2026-12 be brought forward for approval. Can I have a mover? Bruce, seconder? John? Any questions, comments?
If I may, Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. This is a follow-up report to the last council meeting. As mentioned in the report, we did bring forward a draft bylaw in May. We then posted it on the website and for public comment. Since then, we've made further refinements. You'll find that in bylaw 2026-12 that there's a number of streamlined procedures from our former procedural bylaw. I've outlined a few of the larger items in the report. I would be happy to either speak with you individually or provide additional training to any of you, or just simply answer questions. Nothing?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, just wondering if you I can't even say it, did you get any public opinion on this document?
No, I did
Thank
not.
you.
Did you, Amanda? No.
In that case, can I have a vote on that? All those in favor? Pass. No questions or comments? Okay, then we'll move to 5.2, T 2026-06, 2025 capital closed projects. It is recommended that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Hamilton enact as follows: that the Council receives report T 2026-06, 2025 capital closed project for information. Can I have a mover? Mark and Bruce, seconder. Any comments or questions? Nothing? Could I have all in favor? Passed. 15.3, T 2026-07, the 2025 Reserve and Reserve Fund balances. That council receives report T 2026-07, the 2025 Reserve and Reserve Funds balances for information. Mover, Bruce, Secretary John. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passed. 14.2, PLN 2026-22, coal encroachment agreement. And the motion reads, it is recommended that report PLN 2026-22 be received for information and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to enter into an encroachment agreement with Allen Coal at 4862 Cole Road. Mover? John? Secretary? Mark? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Okay. 15.5, T 2026-08, reporting requirement under Ontario Regulation 284/09. That T 2026-08, reporting under requirement under the Ontario Regulations of 284/09, that council receives report T 2026-08, reporting requirement under Ontario Regulation 284/09 for information. Mover? John? Seconder? Bruce? Any questions, comments? All those in favor? 15.6, T 2026-09, the 2026 first quarter financial report. That council receives report T 2026-09, the 2026 first quarter financial report for a period ending March 31st, 2026 as information. Mover? Bruce, seconder Mark. Any questions, comments? All those in favor? Passed. 15.7, the T 2026-10, applications per section 357 of the Municipal Act for refund of property taxes. That the council of the Township of Hamilton receives report T 2026-10, applications per section 357 of the Municipal Act for refund of property taxes, and that council approves the write-off of property taxes for the total amount of $830.67 for 2024 and 2025 taxation year, of which $371.83 is the municipality's portion. Need a mover? John? Mark, seconder. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? 15.8, CD 2026-05, 2026 Joint Compliance Audit Committee Terms of Reference. The motion is that council receives report CD 2026-05, 2026 Joint Compliance Audit Committee Terms of Reference for information. Mover? John? Mark, seconding. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Sorry.
If I could, Mr. Deputy Mayor, I just wanted to note the good work of the clerk and the deputy clerk in taking advantage of this efficiency that's achieved through working with our county colleagues. So it's a good opportunity to work together, and let's hope we don't have an audit, but if we do, this makes it a much easier process. So I just wanted to shout out staff for that involvement.
Thank you, Brian. Okay. 15.9, PLN 2026-20, June Court Estates, draft plan approval, sub 01/24. It is recommended that Northumberland County approve the application for draft plan approval, sub 01/24, consisting of 8 lots for single detached dwellings, an internal road, and 1 block for a stormwater management facility on a parcel of land owned by 2029 20200910 Ontario Limited, located at 1200 Ontario Street, in parts of lots 17 and 18, concession 1, to be approved. I need a mover. John, seconder. Mark, any questions or comments? Oh, John has a question. Go ahead, John.
Yes, through you, Deputy Mayor. Just a comment to say that it's nice to see the public were involved in the area from June Avenue, et cetera, and they asked the real nice questions and they were given the proper answers, so I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, John. Oh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to mention, as Councillor Davidson did as well, that this sort of brings to conclusion, this chapter at least, to a development that's been before the township for a couple of years now. So thanks to the good work of Jennifer and Tim in advancing this. And just a reminder that after July 1st, 2026, we'll be making these approvals in-house and no longer dependent on the county to do so. So thank you.
Thanks for that, Brian. So, all in favor? Did you have a question? Sorry, Bruce. No, okay. So let's move on to 5.10. PLN 2026-21, the 2026 Growth Management Strategy. Motion reads that Council receives report PLN 2026-21, the 2026 Growth Management Strategy, for information, and that Council approves an additional $32,000 for the 2026 Growth Management Plan, funded through development charges, and that Council approves the sole source procurement of the Growth Management Strategy to Watson and Associates in accordance with the Township's procurement policy. I need a mover. Bruce, seconded by John. Any questions or comments? No? Okay, all those in favor? Nothing from emergency services, communications, announcements. Motion to receive the communications that agenda items 17.2 to 17.11 of the May 19, 2026 council meeting agenda be received. Can I have a mover? Mark, John, seconder. Anybody wanting any questions or comments to bring these forward? Yep, go ahead.
I was going to speak on 17.1, dealing with the Conservation Authority. As you all know, the process has started within the GRCA and so forth, the other conservation authorities within our area. There'll be 7 of us now joined to 1. The process has started. It's somewhat moving forward by the province. We are getting some say, not a lot, in how things are progressing and so forth at the GRCA level. Staff, Linda, our general manager, is part of the process, along with our chair, Vicky Mink. Both are working, trying to keep as many staff employed that we have present, trying to work things through so that we're not going to see a lot of changes within our Conservation Authority, but still there is the known fact that we are going to be 1 instead of 7. So there will be some changes. We just don't know how they're all going to pan out and how they're going to be, how it's going to affect us and how it's going to affect us here at the municipality. We're not even sure yet to how the billings are going to occur, whether it's going to come through the county and then back to us, or whether it will remain directly to us. I can tell you that for next year, we will be directed. Our billing will come directly to us. It will be years after that the unknown is still there. So if there's any questions, by all means, send them to me and I'll try and get you answers. I may not be able to answer a lot today, but if you do have questions dealing with the GRCA, by all means, send them and I'll try and get answers.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Anybody else on any of the other topics? John?
Yes, to your Deputy Mayor. I'd like to draw out 17.7, support the North Glengarry, reference to community grants. I believe in 2015 they created the Ontario Community Infrastructure Fund, and in 2022 they did increase it a little bit, And now in 2026, with all the pressures of what is going on today, they're looking for more money to be issued from the government. So we need to support this as well, I believe.
Okay, and we've got that then? Support that?
Through you, Mr. Deputy Mayor, we do have a mover and a seconder to receive this for information. If you wouldn't mind, please, just disposing with that motion, and then we can pass the motion to support 70.
Okay, so can I get a vote on that? All those in favor? And done. Okay. Okay. That's, okay, you got that? Okay, and all in favor? Thank you. Okay, bylaws. Bylaw 2026-12, procedural bylaw. That the bylaw 2026-12, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council and committee meetings, and repeal bylaw 2015-07, as amended to be given first, second, and third reading, and finally passed this 19th day of May, 2026. Mover? Mark? Seconder? Oh, John? And Mark's seconding. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Bylaw 2026-22, authorize execution of encroachment agreement at 4862 Cole Road. The motion reads that bylaw 2026-22, being a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute an encroachment agreement for 4862 Cole Road, be given first, second, and third reading, and finally passed this 19th day of May, 2026. Mover? Bruce? Seconded, John? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Passed. 18.3, bylaw 2026-23, establish joint compliance audit committee. The motion reads that bylaw 2026-23, being a bylaw to establish a joint compliance audit committee and repeal bylaw 2022-42, be given first, second, and third reading, and finally passed this 19th day of May in 2026. I need a mover. Bruce? Seconder? Mark? All those in favor? Any questions or answers? Questions? No. All those in favor? Passed. We don't have any no's motions. There's anybody in the media here? No. Anybody online? Nope. Now, we're going to move to closed session. Motion reads that to move to a closed session to discuss matters permitted under sections 239 brackets 2, brackets B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, i.e. various human resource employee matters, that the council meeting held on May 19, 2026, move into closed session at 1:42 under the Municipal Act sections 239 brackets 2, brackets B. And I need a mover. Mark, seconder John, all in favor? Moved. So we'll take a break to go into closed. Okay, we're coming out of closed session, and there's really nothing to report out of that meeting. And I now move to a confirmatory bylaw. Bylaw 2026-24, confirmatory 2026-05-19, that bylaw 2026-24 being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of the council meeting held on the 19th day of May 2026, and to authorize its execution be given first, second, and third reading, and finally pass this 19th day of May 2026. Can I have a mover? Bruce, seconded by John. Any questions, comments? All those in favor, please. And adjournment. Thank you, everybody.